Hey people, I'm going to leave a comment down there for my backup channel. For all my new subscribers, you might want to click on it. And sometimes there's something on the news that I just don't agree with, and you can disagree, but if you start to show any evidence, they take your movie down instantly. So my channel comes down often, and so I go to one of my backups here. 3 movies ago, I posted this movie called The Power of the Names. I was showing how the word dynamo comes from the base word name, ancient Egyptian word, means the power, a miraculous power. And I told you in that movie that even the word Egypt wasn't the real name, because they wouldn't tell the name, because you lose your power once somebody has your name. And so I was looking into this word, the name, some more, because knowledge is power. And that's the whole reason I started this 10 years ago, because I wanted to learn the power of Egypt. And it was on this last curse to Egypt in Exodus 11. But all these curses start in Exodus 7, when the Lord gives charge to Moses and Aaron. And so it talks about Egypt all through here, but it spells it different every time. The age up to, and the age up ton, and the age up of, and the age up t, and the age up ton. So I looked in the Septuagint where it has all the directional markings, and I learned a lot more about what this word means. So in this final curse, it comes up as end the page updon. You know, a page is a piece of history, and turn the page updon. But it's also spelt, you know, the page as in the writer upped on. He told us. He come off the information upped on. And so the base of this word is this G-Y-F-T, gift. It means free. You know, it's a gift. You don't have to pay me nothing. Free. And so you often see it following a word that ends with an N, and to nay. To not free. And so that's the language change. You'll see that the Greeks say nay means yes, you're free. But everybody else in the world sees that as not free. And so, you know, your Lord, that's your master. And the Lord gave you favor to, you know, and to carry as a deed of let. The K-E becomes the L-E, the Latin sharing to allow. This isn't people, these are slave people, the ones that were allowed. And carry as deed of let in sharing to allow, of to win ante, and you know, on tie, on to, not gift on. To nay a gifty on, you know, to not gift you on. So this is where the Hebrew word for the Egyptians come from. You know, on board the boat you have 2 things. You have crew and you have the merchandise. And that's what this tack means in front of this word for Egypt in the Hebrew, and all in backwards, merts, M-I-R-T-S. All mertsum, all the merchandise, which is thought to have evolved from German, Middle High German, merts, M-A-E-R-T-Z, the merts, the helper or servant. So that's why most of the time you see that Egypt comes up, it's always, you know, and brought you out of the land of Egypt, and it's, you know, at commerce, and so the double M is reading as a M-I-A-R-T-S. It commerce from crime. And so even without the land in front of that, if the word has a tack, it reads backwards, and it's the mertsum crime. It means slavery. And cu, the evixia, not as brought out, but kicked you out. The evixia at commerce, from crime. So in the Greek, this is a forced motion, a time on. And so it starts with Epicurious. And so Epicurious is I want to know what it tastes like. And so Epicurious is I don't care what it tastes like. Force emotion. And that means, the one holding the reins. I don't care what the bit tastes like in your mouth. Just yeehaw, and epicurious. And that's where your word dickery comes from. Up to no good. And so this is where your base word of wise. In the Dutch, they read this F as a S when it's between these letters like this. And it means hip, knowing. And it means eyes, EISE. And the eyes of dickery as, to see the mischievous as force of motion, a time. And so this is ancient word, Mayan word. This is the old language. And it means the tie, my star. My star at your time. And the force motion at time on. Pledge and have. This N followed by the E reads as a V. HVE. The pledge have go. The fatso. The picaro. And in Egypt they say they never had the word Pharaoh. That's a Greek word. That's a word they made up to force over this. But at the time of the pledge have go, it's time to go the fatso. That's government, the fatso, the picaro. And a big clue if this is the right word is further etymology unknown. Everything comes from the Greek or the Hebrew. This is what they'll say. But it's meaning cunning, a rascal, a scoundrel, a rogue adventurer. And a page upped on, turn the page, time to pay the gift, to pay the free on. And matata, ancient Egyptian word for trouble, and the trouble, and matata, what? And the A reading with this E over here is an ES and an EST. And trouble what is supposedly as sent. Supposedly, supposed to tell as sent. As sent who'd in attend. It's apostle whom Messiah when. And matata ist, the one ist, the supposedly as a sent who'd in attend its apostle, its messenger who Messiah. The MAS, the second S reading is a I, Messiah when, sent the Messiah. And so this is ancient Egyptian, O Tutankhamen, and Akhenaten. Akhenaten was attend the sun, and Tutankhamen coming from knowledge, taught the writer. And so in Tuten, is something you're proud of, and oughtn't is something you shouldn't have been proud of. In Tuten, oughtn't. Don't be tooting your own horn over there. Ain't nothing to be proud of. Is sent who then attend its apostle who Messiah when, who bring you out. The face of the Kabbalah, a Kabbalium as. And that's where your word abolish come from. Not expulsion, but expulsion of a law. And so to break this down, the Cabal, the Dark Lords in check. To check in all Hayam as. When you're trying to cross over the border, they're checking all your bags and everybody's paper. That's the ball, the Dark Lords. They're in on it. and of in all check in and all. This is the Hebrew word for God. All him as. They go through all your shit. They want to stick a finger up your ass before you get on the plane. So, they want to see your deeds, your papers, and all your things by expulsion. He will cast you is the face of in all check in all Hayum as. So this word Moses here, this is the Pharaoh, this is the sun god, and force motion. And I don't care what it tastes like when I snatch them bits in your mouth, and to force the motion of the time on. And so this is the sun god. And you see it here with this tack. It tells you to read this backwards and forwards. And it's Allah, A-L. And they say this is God often. And they should say it means God right now. But it's in Y-Ammer. And it's, wise. A Y-Ammer is a reason. The reason for, You keep asking why am. Well, why is it like this and why is it like that? And if I answer, I'm telling you the Y-Ammer, is the reason. And you, the all smash, S-M-S-H. And all smash. And that was everybody's word for the sun god, was to smash. He didn't care what the bits taste like in your mouth. He was on time, on schedule every day. And Y-Ammer, and the reason you, the Allah smashhood, and go ahead. And of ya, A-V and Y-A. And so A-V, there's a lot of ofs, but this A-V is the of, meaning father. And of ya, Abby. And of ya all prove. So the O-E becomes the O-Vav. Show your papers and all prove. And when you read it with the tat, it becomes, that you all and whore, and you all whore for. You all whore for of. You all work for the government, the police, the border patrol. You all whore for of. Checking papers. And all merts, and all servants, and all the servants that march some crime, a hurricane. And with the tack, it's a sharing backwards and forwards. A sharing can assail, to keep in your castle, can assail, it come eyes, it come eyes-y. The product being merchandise at Kamai's, the commodities, and Kasil, that's a word they say in modern Hebrew, the Kasil, the stupid who, a klidgers. And so that's, a klidger is a shepherd, all together, surely. And so this is the S, plural, and the R, the one doing the job. And the klidgers, the same as up above here. The yammer is that one doing the job of Y-am. And he's the Y-ammer because. And so down here, and it's the klidgers. The klidgers, iggers. Iggers is plural. And the one doing the job. And the foot work. And so to make the foot, one doing the job, plurals, the iggers, will drive out. And the stupid who klidgers, the clergy in the church, that's their job, to the clergy to put them all together, and they're kliggers. And the kliggers, iggers, to shepherd the foot workers at Kamais and make them the product. And so without the reading directions, it's just the reason you, the alms. The alms is a prayer to God, where your word psalms come from Thai bit, alms, alms. And the reason you, the alms, who'd in go ahead, of you all prove, and all from crime a hurricane, a silent camise, the castle who cligers, the stupid who shepherds iggers. Somebody dancing the jiggers, the foot to make the footwork. The iggers at commerce, the dancers. So this was all written at different times, and before this Bible was this Septuagint. And so when it read, it didn't have the ego in here. And so where this one was, the force of motion, a time, the pledge, and have go the fatso. It's time to get rid of the fat king, the fatso of Picaro. But here it was time for the rule of the fatso. It's the time and pledge in the fatso of the Picaro. And so Egypt was the evil empire. All of Africa, this is the only landmass. This between Iraq and Gibraltar, I wouldn't want to have to swim that. I'm not going to say that I couldn't, but I'm a really good swimmer. And you surely don't want to get caught around here. There's pirates here still today. That'd be an awful swim. But Egypt is the only landmass here. And so any goods in and out to all of Africa here, you put a little bit of pirate force out here in the Med and in the Red Sea, and everything has to come through this landmass. That's why Israel's fighting their way down there today. And they know what's coming. Come the last ice age, when all these books was written, this Nile Delta here is where all the food in the Mediterranean come from. And anything that goes between Africa and other nations, the foot traffic has to come through this one little desert. And so for everybody who hasn't seen this yet, I'm going to show you a picture of this in Google Maps. It's about 10,000 square miles of farmland. Every square inch is farmed here. You'll see this whole thing is all just farms. Every possible thing, couple trees around the irrigation, but this is all just farms. And where the ground gets low, they just switch it up into fish farms. They even lighten up the water. When everything else goes to hell, the Nile always replenishes this every year. They never need fertilizer. And so the last ice age was the age of Thoth, the Atlantean. And he says that his land went underwater. And so don't go looking for a big landmass under all these deep oceans. All that means is the land went underwater. It was an ice age. Maybe he was down here at the South Pole. A big landmass underwater. And so that's why they're going through all that trouble now. They're trying to reseed this desert part of Africa because they know it's coming time. And this is where going to be all the life is going to be at. It's how Egypt accumulated all its wealth. It was in that ring of wealth. And it was the same on the other side of the world. All the wealth was found here in Mexico. That's why Mexico's trying to build this big wall across here. They got a bigger area to try to protect. It's when they built all these vertical gardens. You see them all over South America. Cuts out the labor of watering. All you have to do is water it once on the top. When people can't eat the gold, they trade that gold for groceries. Farmers weren't fighters. They would move up in the mountains, places where it was hard to get armies to. But Israel's masters at war. They don't give a damn. They're going to control this area right here. So according to the Bible, the Ice Age only lasts 400 years. And in that time, they'll enslave everybody. And then as the ice recedes, they'll start moving north. And when people figure out what they did, they're going to escape back up to Germany and claim that was their motherland and change the story back into them being slaves. But the Hebrew word for Hebrew is plainly the ovary. And from the ovary, the mother, But the sieging begin in the time marks the ovary from, and compel osity, the greatness. Mama sees 'em. Anything, mama. Anything you want, you call to mama, and mama sees 'em. What a buyer. And so this mom here, this comes from an ancient word that had all the ancients baffled. They couldn't figure out what that meant. The and they're reading it wrong because it's read mum, M-A-U-M-A, mama, which is the earth, sky, and heaven, mama. And heaven just meaning the hour on as. Heaven means time. You know, that's what God did first, and was of a tell of this on of hour on as. And first he built the clock. I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.